Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Whatnauts Reactor Corps. This is number 28, and coming up on today's show, we will be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, number 5, I believe. I think this is the second to last one. The finale is next week. Man, wow, it's going by fast. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined this week by Ignacio Rojas.
Hey.
Ignacio, what's up, dude?
So good. Nice to finally make it here.
Yeah.
Talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Absolutely. My week has been pretty good. It's been a whirlwind of a week. We've it's been slow at work, but I've been occupying myself with stuff here at the podcast and all the stuff we do here. We had stuff blow up on social media. It's been a blast.
We sure have had a week with the podcast.
We did indeed. Let's jump right into episode 5, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I have to say, I thought this was their best one yet. I really enjoyed this one. I mean, I've loved the entire show so far, but I thought this one really spoke to me and some of the things that I have wanted and was hoping we'd get to see way back in when we did our first one of these. So what did you think, Ignacio?
I also liked it, although I wouldn't go as far as to say it is my favorite. I would still put, to me, episode 3 and 4 are out there for me. Those are my favorite. And I still like this episode, but I don't know. 3 and 4 had more of what I wanted. It had more of it posed more of the questions that I wanted to see.
Okay.
Whereas episode 5 right now, it was what I was expecting the show to be.
Gotcha.
In a certain way, because I knew going into it, and of course with episode 1, that we would sort of deal with Falcon, with what it means to have a Black Captain America and his interaction with Isaiah. And so we saw that back again now, and kind of like the culmination of that storyline be in this episode. And that was what I was expecting the show to go, or where it was going to go. Whereas for me, episode 3 and 4 posed different questions that I wasn't expecting, like what it means to actually have these people be symbols, or is it a good idea to have superheroes as symbols, or who should Captain America be a symbol for? Because you have, of course, you have Falcon and how that would be a symbol for Black Americans, but you also had, for example, the Flag Smashers. We'll learn more about them, I think, in episode 3 and 4, how they are refugees.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point, the question was posed there as to whether they deserve to have Captain America be a symbol, or a Captain America be their symbol. And also the question was posed as to whether or not Captain America should be a symbol, because that means good things for some people, but for other people, it doesn't mean so good things. Like we saw that now in episode 5, which I'm glad they brought up how, I mean, Isaiah brought up how to him it was kind of insulting that a black man would become Captain America. But also,
thinks he'd have to
you have to remember, you have to also remember that these are shows that are watched by an international audience. And so you have to remember that Captain America wouldn't mean the same thing for people in other countries, because for someone in the US, it might mean hope, it might mean truth, justice, and the American way, but for other countries, it would mean quite the opposite. And I
think what's really neat with this is it's diving into the character that is often misunderstood. A lot like Superman. They just think, he's all powerful. He's a boring character and stuff like that. Or with Captain America here, he's like, oh, he's a rah-rah America. Whereas he's actually not. Like that's usually not what he is. But a lot of people don't see that side of him, and so I think this show is putting in that work to be like, well, let's take a look at what it means to be Captain America and stuff like that. So it's been neat.
Again, I thought that episode 3 and 4 were posing interesting questions, and I even liked how it was slightly hinted, but I for sure wasn't expecting that it was gonna go this way. But I secretly wanted them to come to the conclusion that there shouldn't be a Captain America.
Interesting.
And I think that up to this point there were certain like threads being or certain conversations that were leading to that. Like I said, there was the conversation of whether superheroes should be symbols or whether Captain America should be a symbol. And so I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but I secretly wanted them to come to the conclusion that there shouldn't be a Captain America.
Well, there's
I
still
think that would have been. No, it's set in stone
one
right
more
now.
Left. Well, that's the thing. Like I think this one did a great job of both leading people to believe, like, yeah, I think at the end of the day, Sam will take up the shield and he will be the one to be the next Captain America. But I think this one also did a very good job of just making Sam realize his own self-worth of like, hey, you don't actually need to be Captain America to still represent those same things. Like he could still be the Falcon and maybe use the shield of just like, hey, I might not be Captain America, but I will be the guardian and the one holding this symbol. So I don't know what they'll do, but I thought this was a good one to kind of throw that wrench in the mix of like, yeah, I still don't know exactly what they're going to do, but he does have a new suit. We didn't get to see it, so like I'm assuming it's a Captain America suit that was designed by the Wakandans, but I don't know.
Yeah, so when I watched it and it got to the point where he, of course, opens up the briefcase, and that's when I thought that, oh, maybe they could be giving him something else or wings, but for sure when he opens it up, it basically tells you that it is going to be a suit. And so when I saw that, my question was, wait, why would we need the Wakandans to make him a suit? Is it a vibranium suit or what? And then listening to the discussion from Kind of Funny today, they brought out how it was going to be his wings that they
could potentially
kind of
be
make
that.
Yeah. I still don't know if that's where they're going, because at the beginning of the episode, Sam leaves his broken suit with what's his name, Torres?
Yeah, Joaquin Torres.
Yeah, so
I'm looking at our Twitch stream right now, and it is being all kinds of funky. I don't know what's up with that. Apologies if that is actually happening.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it
on there. That is wild. But we will soldier on because we are recording this on our end as well. Yeah. So I know there was a lot of people out there who don't know who Torres is and all that stuff, and I know very little about him. But I did know that in the comics he ends up becoming the Falcon. He ends up taking on that role. So I kind of knew that from the start. And then to see them in this one, and he's like looking at the wings, and he's like, "Wait, you left these here?" And Sam is just like, "Keep them." I'm like, "Oh yeah, here we go."
Are we going to finally have a Latino superhero in the MCU?
Hell yeah!
I doubt it, but the door is still open.
Well, the door is still.
I don't think they're going to do anything with them.
One has been cast. We do know that America Chavez will be joining the MCU at some point. I think she is. I think they said that she was going to be in She-Hulk. Is that right? Or am I completely making that up? She has been cast. I don't remember the
remember.
actress's name, but yeah, we'll see some.
We'll see. Yeah, we still don't know
representation.
how much impact the shows will have on the overall MCU. I come from the Agents of Shield fandom, so I don't expect anything, to be honest. What I think is gonna happen is that, and why I think that Sam will most definitely become Captain America, is that that way for people who watched Endgame but they are not watching the show, to them, Sam already became Captain America because Steve
That
gave
makes
him
sense.
the shield.
Yeah.
And so that's a good way to, if you have Falcon as Captain America in another movie and you start from Endgame where Steve left him the shield, you can basically make a straight line between them, but you can also have a
make a little loop
deviating
of, like, it starts
line
here, ends
that's
there.
You have the deviating line that's the show.
Which
And
is
so
exactly
that's why
what
I think-
Loki is doing
Why?
too, right? Because he took the Tesseract, and his whole show is gonna be from like when he left and then like jumps back in there. So yeah, that is smart. I can see them doing that, or at least having him be at a place of a lot more confidence when he says yes or no to the shield. Of just like, hey, I know you said this, but man, I've had some time to think. I've come into my own, and I believe it belongs with Eli Bradley or someone else, right?
No, it's not gonna end up. It's gonna be Sam. It's gonna end up with him.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I would love to see him in a Captain America suit and be right there with the shield. Let me ask you this. What did you think of John Walker in this one? We get to see a little bit of his trial-ish? I don't know if you can really call it that.
That's another thread that I liked at the show, or another question, something that the show is questioning, that I think that they have been doing throughout the show, where I think it was last episode where we had the conversation between him and his partner about when he was doubting whether or not he should take the serum. They had the conversation about them being in Afghanistan, and I think the partner brings up him being a hero or something like that, and then John Walker makes a mention about the bad things that they did.
Yeah, he said something like, I got 3 medals to remind me of the worst day of my life. Yeah. So
so I liked how the show was going, or is going, into that direction of questioning whether or not, again, we had the show bring up the question of whether superheroes should be put up in a pedestal. They are also questioning how American society, in specific, treats soldiers, how they treat them like heroes, and he brings up the fact that they did bad things, that it was the worst day of his life. And so now what I loved about his trial was that he says directly to them, like, you made me, like, I was following your orders, and now you're basically, you made me, and then you're throwing me to the side, you're throwing me away. I like that.
Yeah, that is an interesting thread indeed. It's an interesting one, because you bring up the point of, you don't know how impactful these will be on the MCU as a whole. I think for some of the bigger things, the bigger characters, it might not be super impactful, but it might be enough for them to, like, hey, there was this one thing that did change, and if you want to see that story, go back and do that here, because I think they are building up to a few things. And one of the theories floating around out there is the Thunderbolts, that they might be building the Thunderbolts, because we know that General Ross was involved with the super soldier serum. We still have not seen him in this show, so maybe he might not be showing up in this one.
So you would assume he was involved, because in the show, they brought up how the CIA, I think, was trying to experiment with it. And we know that from the Hulk, whole thing was that they were trying to recreate the Super
Experimenting
Soldier
with it.
Serum, and
Exactly.
Ross was involved in that. And so, yeah, the ongoing theory for the show was that Thunderbolt Ross was gonna appear on the show, and that could still very well happen. But yeah, I could see them building up to the Thunderbolts because they brought up how when the Dromilaje caught Simo, that they are going to bring him to the raft, which is controlled by Thunderbolt Ross. And then you also have U.S. agent.
John Walker.
I hate it when I forget
US
John Walker.
agent.
Yeah, you have him, which they could very easily put him on the Thunderbolts.
Whoever this power broker is also probably a player in that.
And we know
at least of making the team.
Also, it just came out that the lady that appeared on this episode, there's a rumor going on that she is or was at least supposed to appear on Black Widow, which was supposed to come out before the show.
Yes.
And we know that Thunderbolt Ross was or is going to pop up in Black Widow. So they could have easily been a connection with it because she, with how secretive she is being, it does feel like it might, maybe the way that the show ends or like a post-credit scene ends is that he calls her up and she recruits him for the Thunderbolts.
Something like that.
That's how I think that the show could end.
Talk about her then. Let's talk about good old Contessa. I'm not going to say her full name is way too fucking long. I don't know how to say it.
Isn't she supposed to be Lady Hydra or Madam Hydra?
I think at one point she takes up the mantle, but I don't know how long that sticks. And I think she's undercover for most of that. But she is in the comics, at least. Here's her full name: La Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine. And she first appeared in Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Back in 1967 by Jim Steranko. And she was a love interest to Nick Fury. She was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She seems to be that like super spy kind of thing. I've actually never heard of her. I'm sure she's been in something I've read, but it's not a name that stuck. So I had no idea who she was.
I know about Lady or Madam Hydra, but I've never heard of her.
Yeah, I've also heard it floating around that she is Agent 14. So just as Sharon Carter is number 13, she is 14, which I don't know exactly how that works there, but we'll see what they do with her in this show. But yeah, I was preparing for a cameo. However, I knew to set my expectations low with this one. The creator came out and said, like, yeah, this is a very grounded character. He even said that he would like to see them paired with Thor, which was an interesting thing to mention there. But we also know from WandaVision how wild we got with all the speculations. And yeah, so I set my expectations really low. And when she turned out to be the cameo, I have to be honest, I was really disappointed. Because I was just like, I don't know who this is. Like, I recognize the actress, but I just like, we don't know this character. I don't know how much I'm supposed to care. Is this supposed to be like, oh, that's Nick Fury? Oh my God, what's going on? You know, like it's not that.
Yeah, but imagine if the rumors are true that she was meant to pop up first in Black Widow.
Like I mentioned, it has been confirmed. There was an article in Variety where they said that is where she appears first.
Yeah, it does feel like you should have known who she was at that point. It does feel like that was made that way.
Even still, though, if she makes an appearance in Black Widow, I don't know if that's going to be enough for us to really be like, oh shit, this was a big deal. Maybe it is, but we don't know.
I think it will.
Yeah, I mean, it might be something once we finally see that movie. It's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think unfortunately the way it played out, it was just like, this was kind of lame.
Yeah.
Which I think so far has been
I mean,
really the only thing that I've been majorly disappointed in with this show so far.
I didn't see the rumors about there being a cameo. Watching the kind of funny reaction, that's when I learned that there were rumors floating around about there being a cameo. And so when I got to that part, to me, it was just, this is as like a secretive character, a shady, shadowy character that we might learn about later. Like I've seen some other shows do that before. So,
do you think she is the power broker? She could potentially be a candidate for that because she is technically recruiting people. She didn't specify who John Walker was valuable to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's to her.
I think that if, and most probably if she is connected to the power broker, I think that she is probably the second in command. Like she is the one who goes around. She is the public face. She is the one who goes to these people of interest and recruit them. I don't think that she is the person in top.
I kind of disagree with that. I think she might be the power broker because I think at this point we only have two options of who it is, unless it's still a third of just like we haven't met them yet. Which I would also be. I think there would be a disappointing of just like we haven't met them yet. I think that would be a big a big letdown. But I think the big major two is Sharon Carter and her. We still don't know what Sharon is up to exactly, but we know she did hire Batroc to go do something. So that's more in favor of her potentially being the power broker. But I don't know. I'm not convinced it's her.
I think that it could be Thunderbolt Ross.
It could be. My only thing against that is I don't know if...
He could have been bleeped and like that could have lost all of his ranking, and I could see... I don't
think he was
Black Widow
mentioned in one of the...
Black Widow...
as one of the people killed off in that.
If Black Widow happens in between Infinity War and Endgame, then he wouldn't have been bleeped then.
Yeah, we do know it's a bit of a prequel, but because that could be something if Contessa ends up being Madam Hydra, and doing that route, being a former SHIELD agent, she would know Sharon Carter, and then seeing how the Avengers just kind of were just like, you can go, have fun, and just like abandon her. That might have given Sharon good cover to go undercover. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm not convinced it's Sharon. I'm still not fully convinced it's Contessa, but I think, like I mentioned, I'd be disappointed if it was like someone we still haven't met yet. I don't think it's Thunderbolt Ross because I don't think he would be the one texting Carly being like, you stole what's mine, I'm gonna like he said something along the lines of like, I'm gonna kill you. It could be
because
you're not wrong.
We know that
but as a government official, I don't see him doing that.
But, and Kyle, you watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so you should know this reference. It could be like in season 1 where they had the clairvoyant, which ended up being Garrick, who was inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it could very well be that Thunderbolt Ross is at the same time being whatever general military person he is, and then on the side being this power broker. And that could very well be how the Thunderbolts start.
True. Yeah.
Again, if she is the second in command to the Power Broker, and the Power Broker is Thunderbolt Plus, her going to U.S. agent. I forget his name always.
You got it.
If she goes to U.S. agent, she could be where we'll be recruiting him for the Thunderbolts.
Indeed. We will have to see, though, because we got one final episode left. Yeah. Ignacio, last word. Who do you think will end up with the shield? I think I know your answer because you mentioned it at the start, but
it's Sam.
Sam? Okay. I think
before I go on, I have one thing I'd like to say before we end.
Sure thing. I think I think it might end up going to someone like Eli. I don't know. That's a little bit out there, but they also have been building up young Avengers, so it might be neat to see that shield go to a younger generation to do with it what they will. So who knows? But you had a question as well.
No, it's not a question. I just wanted to talk about the scene with Sam and Bucky.
Okay.
Where they are just tossing the shield around. I love that scene.
Yeah, that was a wonderful scene.
That's one of the things that I really liked about. I have been really liking about the show. Them tackling their relationship, because they were brought together because of their common friend, and now that friend is dead, and seeing them get closer to each other, I've been enjoying it so much. And then having that scene of this episode of them kind of like being pals, shooting instead of tossing the ball around. It's basically
tossing
like
the shield,
throwing a frisbee around. Throwing the shield around. And
exactly.
I just love that. And then the end of that, or when Bucky is leaving, and them, it's like, they're pals now. They're friends, even though neither of them want to say it. Yeah. We are acquaintances that got together because of their friend, and another friend said, I just love that their relationship. I've been loving it so much.
They have wonderful chemistry. I cannot wait to see where that goes down the road, especially in the movies. If we get to see more of that, it's going to be a lot of fun. But I think that will wrap us up for our reactions to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 5. Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at Ignacio Rojas B. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
Go. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter. If you guys want to stay up to date with all of the shows that we do, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter as well. We have multiple podcasts that we do, so Twitter would be a great place to stay up to date with all of that stuff. But you guys can also find out more information on our website, which is thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts and all of our shows will pop up right there. If you like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. We have a $3 tier with all kinds of exclusive content, and a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. And above. So thank you, Sam, and thank you to one Greg Miller for supporting us on Patreon.
Thank you, Sam.
Appreciate it a lot. Yeah.
And also, this is the first time that you read Greg's name. For this.
Yeah, first time indeed. I got to say his name on this as a thank you.
So thank you, Sam, and thank you, Greg.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you to all of you guys who have been here in the chat, including Camille, who says he's been lurking the entire time.
You guys can over here.
You guys can support us here on Twitch. twitch.tv/the Whatnauts, just like Kumail did and subscribed to our channel. And don't forget that if you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime. You just have to link your accounts, which is super simple, and then you have a free subscription to give out each month. And we'd love that to be us here at the Whatnauts, because that means we can make bigger and better content for you all down the road. But with that, we will wrap things up for this section. However, if you are here on Twitch, stick with us. We are about to start the Captain's Log, which is our weekly off-topic podcast. So we will be right back as we go set that stuff up. And then we will be back for some more chilling and hanging out and good fun times. So with that, bye.
Bye.